The scent of her perfume always hit me first. A cloying, floral thing that used to make my heart flip, now just made my stomach churn. She glided into the living room, the artificial smile already plastered on her face, the one she reserved for me when she was trying to act like she hadn't just been with another man. I used to be so blind, so willing to believe in the charade. But not anymore. She stopped short, her gaze fixed on the wall. I watched, a cold satisfaction blossoming in my chest, as the smile faltered, then crumpled like a discarded piece of paper. On the wall, where a generic landscape painting had hung for years, was a carefully constructed mosaic. Not a mosaic of pretty tiles or colorful glass, but one made of photographs. Hundreds of them, meticulously pieced together to form a single, damning image. It was her, and him, in various states of undress. In various locations. In my own bed. The mosaic shimmered under the soft light of the living room, each tiny photo a knife twisting deeper into the wound. It wasn't a random collection of incriminating pictures, it was a carefully curated chronicle of her betrayal. The beginning, stolen glances and awkward touches, escalating into hurried embraces in dimly lit restaurants. The middle, hands groping under tables, clandestine meetings in hotel rooms that she lied about being at work. The climax, her, in our bed, with him, the evidence plastered across my wall. Her breath hitched, a strangled sound that was more like a whimper than a scream. Her eyes darted wildly around the room, searching for something, anything, to latch onto. But there was only me, standing there, calm and collected, watching her carefully constructed world unravel. I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. The mosaic spoke volumes, each tiny square a testament to her lies, her deceit, her casual disregard for the vows she had so solemnly made. I had painstakingly crafted that masterpiece of treachery over the past 3 months, after a small, unassuming text message from an unknown number had revealed the truth I had desperately tried to ignore. The text was a simple picture of her, leaving a hotel room, holding hands with a man who wasn't me. A man I knew as her colleague. At first, I had dismissed it as a prank, a cruel joke. But the nagging unease that had taken root in my gut wouldn't let me sleep. It wouldn't let me eat. It wouldn't let me live my life as I had before. And so I became obsessed. I tracked her phone. I hired a private investigator. I saw the pattern, the sickening routine of deception. For weeks, I was consumed by a rage so intense, so all-encompassing, that I could barely function. I fantasized about screaming at her, about confronting him, about tearing everything apart. But I knew that wasn't what I wanted. That wouldn't give me any lasting satisfaction. I needed to punish her. To expose her, to show her just how deeply her actions had hurt me, while giving her no control over the narrative. And so, I channeled my pain into a plan, meticulous and methodical, each step calculated for maximum impact. I wasn't interested in a screaming match or a dramatic confrontation. Those were for the soap operas. This was real. This was the dismantling of a marriage that had become a charade. It wasn't about breaking things, it was about exposing them. Laying bare the ugliness she'd hidden for so long, in a way she couldn't ignore. The first photos I'd found were painful. Stolen glances in coffee shops. The way he'd touch her hand when he thought no one was looking. Each picture felt like a physical blow. But as I gathered more, the initial pain began to morph into something colder, something more calculated. I became a collector, meticulously organizing her treachery, like a curator preparing a devastating exhibition. Each photo was printed and carefully cut, each one given its due place in the grotesque picture puzzle I was creating. It became a sick hobby, a project that kept me awake at night. The mosaic had taken weeks to complete. Each photo was a tiny fragment of her betrayal, and now, they were all displayed, a collective statement, the truth staring her right in the face. I watched her, her face now ashen, her eyes wide with a mixture of horror and disbelief. I saw a tear track down her cheek, smudging the makeup she'd put on that morning, no doubt in preparation for another rendezvous with her lover. The carefully applied facade was gone, replaced by raw, naked fear. Finally, she found her voice, a trembling whisper. How did you? I just pointed to the mosaic, the silent testament to her deceit. She took a step back, as if the image itself was a physical threat. Her hands flew to her mouth, her eyes wide with panic. She knew. She understood. This wasn't just about the pictures themselves, it was about the deliberate, calculated nature of their presentation. It was about me seeing everything, about her realizing that I wasn't the fool she had made me out to be. It was about me being one step ahead, a ghost in the background, watching it all unfold. She took another step back, nearly colliding with the couch. I can explain. I finally spoke, my voice calm, devoid of the anger that had been boiling inside of me for so long. I don't want an explanation, I want you gone. Everything you own is already packed in boxes in the garage. I had been methodical. I had carefully organized all of her things, her clothes, her shoes, her trinkets, all neatly packed in cardboard boxes. They were a stark reminder of her place in my life, her soon-to-be absence. I had already contacted a lawyer. She had no legal claim over anything. The evidence I had was insurmountable. The divorce proceedings would be swift and painless for me. She looked stunned. You already knew. I nodded, yes, I knew. For months. She swallowed hard, her gaze darting around the room as if searching for a way out. But the mosaic held her captive, each photo a barrier preventing her from escaping. Please, she begged, her voice choked with emotion. Please, can we talk? I don't know what to say. There's nothing to say, I interrupted, my voice still calm. You said it all. On the wall. She stared at me, her eyes glistening with tears. I didn't mean to hurt you. I almost laughed. Did she honestly think that those pathetic words could possibly make any difference? But you did, I said softly, my voice barely above a whisper. You did it with every lie, with every secret rendezvous. You did it every time you came home, smelling of him. You did it every time you looked me in the eye and said you loved me, all the while knowing that it was all a lie. You did it with every photograph. Now, the truth is right here, on my wall for everyone to see. I motioned towards the front door, and, surprisingly, she didn't argue. She walked with her head down, a beaten woman, defeated by the very evidence she had helped create. As she walked through the door, she glanced back at the mosaic. She knew that she'd never forget it. I turned off the lights in the living room, leaving the mosaic to cast its haunting shadow across the room. I looked at it one last time. I felt no more anger, no satisfaction, just a deep and profound sense of sadness. The sadness of a love that had been betrayed. The sadness of a life that was not what I had imagined it would be. And the hope that one day, the pain would subside. It would be a long time, but I knew it would happen. I knew that I would move on. And I knew that she would not be able to forget the mosaic. It would be a reminder of her betrayal, a stain on her soul, forever. I would have my closure, but she would have her war.